Ladies and gentlemen, what has taken place with Redditors and GameStop is unprecedented. I don't think there's ever been a moment in time where average investors or everyday people did something similar to what hedge funds do and what titans and Wall Street barons and what traders on Wall Street do all the time. I've never seen this happen, so it's pretty phenomenal. However, I have stated that I don't want this to happen, and I was hoping this wouldn't take place. But ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you how it would be presented if Trump were still in office. This is Biden's America, and Biden's America is now cracking down and investigating the little guy. Senate to hold hearing on stock market after Reddit GameStop squeeze. The Verge. TechCrunch. Lawmakers announce hearing on GameStop and online trading platforms. Bloomberg. Senate Banking Committee to hold hearing amid GameStop frenzy. These are committees run by Democrats. This is Biden's America. Now, I said in the past couple segments that I was worried that Reddit would actually help Senate Democrats, House Democrats, the SEC, Biden's administration in cracking down on even individual Redditors. I don't want that to happen. I know that Reddit is mostly liberal. This has nothing to do with politics now. This is not about politics. This is not about President Trump or Biden or, I want an end to regime changes and interventions, which is the moral and just reason to vote for President Trump. Voting for President Trump was a moral imperative if you wanted to end perpetual counterinsurgency conflicts. President Trump presided over the Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea, allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. In terms of achievement, he was one of the great presidents. And he's going to be very influential within the Republican Party from here on out, completely transforming it. But hedge fund titans lose billions to Reddit traders running amok. So this is, this is not something that I wanted to happen, and I was fearing this. Now, what did I say? I said, it's pretty phenomenal. So looking at it, it's phenomenal. What that Reddit group was able to do is profound. And it's paradigm changing. The problem, though, is that Democrats, Reddit itself, the company, Biden's administration, the new SEC chairman, and Republicans are going to crack down on this. And they're going to prevent this from ever taking place again, probably. And they potentially can go after individuals. And this is what I feared. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Get this segment going. Tell your friends about this channel. I'm reaching subscribers that I haven't reached before because I've been talking about Twitter as a company and the stock market lately. And although this is a paradigm-changing moment in the history of the market, they're not going to, the Democrats especially are into regulation, so you might have had an easier time with Trump as president, although never-Trumpers would have done the same thing. Once a hedge fund loses billions, they don't care about duplicity or hypocrisy. They're going to say, yeah, we do it, but we do it in a legal way. So hedge fund titans lose billions to Reddit traders running amok. Already you're getting the hit pieces. Already you're getting the negative media. Once that takes place, it's not going to be long until Reddit actually teams up with Biden's administration. Reddit is run by like all tech companies, liberal, very wealthy, connected liberals. They are not far left. They're not Trump supporters. They're liberals. Good, morally superior, virtuous liberals. And they're just wonderful people who will say, hey, we stand for free speech, and you know what? were for the little guy. The second they're told to give information on individuals who maybe were influential within that group, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I fear this. I fear people losing money because it's not. I don't want. If you voted for Biden, if you don't like Trump, this is a different. I'm taking my partisan hat off. This is a pandemic where people can't lose money. Now, there were people willing to lose money to prove a point, I think, but some people made a great deal of money. Some people lost a great deal of money. Some people continue to lose a great deal of money once, this continues. Tomorrow, they've already stopped trading or halted trading or tried to curtail trading, but let me just read you this. Hedge fund titans lose billions to Reddit traders running amok. Bloomberg, for once, Main Street is beating Wall Street. In a matter of weeks, two hedge fund legends have suffered bruising losses as amateur traders banded together to take on some of the world's most sophisticated investors. In Cohen's case, he and Ken Griffin ended up rushing to the aid of a third, Gabe Plotkin, whose firm was getting beaten down. Driven by frenzied trading in GameStop Corp and other stocks that hedge funds have bet against, the losses suffered over the past few days would rank among the worst in some of the money managers' storied careers. So you've had 10%, 15% declines, 30% declines. It's a humbling turnaround for the hedge fund titans, who in 2020 staged a comeback by pouncing on wild markets caused by the pandemic. But that crisis helped push thousands, if not millions, of retail traders into the U.S. stock market, creating a new force that for now the professionals seem powerless to combat. Now, there was a hedge fund that also went under, or not went under, but took a gigantic hit. And let's see, the hedge fund took a gigantic hit. That was Melvin Capital Hedge Fund, targeted by a Reddit board, closes out GameStop short position. Melvin Capital closed out its short position in GameStop on Tuesday afternoon after taking a huge loss, the hedge fund's manager told CNBC. CNBC could not confirm the amount of losses the firm took on the short position. Citadel and Point72 have infused close to $3 billion into Melvin Capital to shore up its finances. So they took, I don't know if that's the amount of the hit they took, but they took a huge hit. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my thought process. I don't want people to lose money. I don't want people in trouble with the SEC or the FBI. I don't want Reddit to team with the SEC or Biden's administration. I don't want this to have a negative impact on the lives of people who want to do something that's altruistic or paradigm changing, or, it's pretty amazing what they did. It is pretty amazing. I give it up to these people. However, the retribution is going to be swift. I don't want it to be swift. I'm usually all in. I have a very distinct vantage point. I'm like a, laser beam with my focus on certain partisan issues. Like I said, I'm taking my partisan hat off. I'm observing this, hoping for the best for people. But this is Biden's America, ladies and gentlemen. And you better believe it's going to be, like, if Trump presided over investigations into what was taking place now, they would make it seem like, oh, Trump, he's yet again siding with the oligarchs. The press is going to be very different. The coverage is going to be the New York Times, the Washington Post. I can tell you right now, are going to do stories on people who've lost thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of dollars from this. The coverage is going to make Reddit or Redditors or that subreddit seem like, the biggest villains. I don't want this to happen. Again, I am putting my partisan hat aside. I hope the Biden administration does not do this. And if and when they do, or if and when media starts pumping out the hit pieces and trying to justify the SEC and Biden's administration cracking down and either, with fines or with jail sentences. I mean, who knows? Who knows what could take place? It's not entirely, it's, from what I understand, it's mostly legal, although not entirely legal, what has taken place. So you can say, well, the hedge funds do the same thing. What are you talking about? Yeah, they do the same thing. Yeah. And Hillary Clinton had servers with top secret intelligence. That's why I focused on that for years and years and nobody cared. Because they're people, the top echelon are never held accountable, especially within the Democratic Party. Look, you had Republicans doing the same thing. You had Kelly Loeffler, Richard Burr, another Republican, and Feinstein selling stocks before the pandemic tanked the market. And they were not, and like no charges were leveled. The investigation took place. You know how it is. Well, you might say, well, you know what? It's the little guy coming back. Yeah, but they don't, the system, that's why, this is what people don't understand. Like Reddit, for example, most of Reddit, despises President Trump. They did away with the Donald subreddit. But Donald Trump is more for the little guy, more for the average person, much more, which is why he did better than he did in 2016 in terms of the non-white vote and in terms of just a whole bunch of momentum towards President Trump. He did better. But so like the Democrats and media trying to paint him as a racist and a demagogue, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. The average person, you could look at the USMCA. He did better among voting groups, despite, and they say the one, it's interesting, the one voting group he didn't do better with was the white voting demographic, even though the whole, anyway, leaving Trump and the past couple months aside, Democrats are not going to take this lightly. They run the House, they run the Senate. They're not going to take this lightly. And I fear that they go after individual Redditors. This is what I'm fearing. I'm not saying it'll happen. I hope to God it doesn't. And I fear that Reddit will work with the SEC. The FBI is going to be on this in a second. Because Democrats will say, okay, wait a second, we need to find out how this took place. They have Senate investigations and House investigations will already take place. It's not going to look, it doesn't look good. Once you have hedge funds losing a great deal of money, and the Senate and the House is involved, and Democrats are pro-regulation anyway, and these titans, these tech, all these tech companies are run by liberal Democrats, not people looking out for the little guy or the average Joe or whatever. Okay, so what people didn't understand about the Trump years was that the narrative couldn't have been further from the truth. Trump was a demagogue and he was a despot and he only cared about the billionaires. This is not true. You're going to see now Biden's America going after the little guy, the Redditors who stood up to Wall Street or taught them a lesson. Now it's they had Star Wars, now it's The Empire Strikes Back. And I just fear that what I've been fearing. Here, Bloomberg, Senate. So it's interesting too because two leading House and Senate committees pledged to hold hearings on the recent gyrations in the stock market. This is interesting. They're trying to, like, initially describe this as, oh, we're gonna, look out for the average investor. Lawmakers announced hearings on GameStop and online trading platforms. Addressing the predatory and manipulated conduct is the responsibility of lawmakers and security. So, what do you think they're going to... In the Senate, incoming Senate Banking Chairman Sherrod Brown announced his own plans for hearing the current state of stock market in light of recent events. People on Wall Street only care about the rules if they're the ones getting hurt. So they're going to... They haven't cracked down yet. They're going to market this as, well, we're going to investigate really what's happening to the little guy. You have hedge funds, and I hope I'm wrong. But I think you're gonna see Democrats, the SEC, possibly the FBI, and Reddit completely turn the tables once you get more negative coverage. And I hope the negative coverage doesn't take place, but that's what happens. It's a public relations racket and spin. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I could be absolutely wrong, and I hope I am. It would be nice if Democrats actually stood up for the little guy, but I don't think it's going to happen.